The Bad Batch is back on a whole new mission. Let's talk about it in this video. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, The Bad Batch, Ghost Agents. That is a mouthful, but that's also a comic book from Dark Horse Comics. So this is a series of individual issues, but they all have an overarching story. This one's rooted around the Bad Batch, but Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, it's the offshoot of stories that you can read from different times from the Star Wars franchise that are not published by Marvel, right? These are all Dark Horse stories. So this one is written by Michael Moreci with pencils by Reese Hannigan, inks by Elisabetta D'Amico, and colors by Michael Atier, letters by Tyler Smith, Bobby Bradford of Comic Craft. So before we get into all this, I want to talk about the covers. The cover artist, Valeria Favosia, you may know this artist by also the name Lux on the internet. If you haven't read the comic book with Scott Snyder and Lux by a thread from Comixology, you want to check that out. Currently on its second season. But what I wanted to talk about is all these covers, because I think adapting these animated characters into a comic book medium, you're gonna have like the cover is what's gonna invite you to read this, and these covers are very, very cool. So let's go take a look at them. All right, so here we have the covers. We're looking at the first cover, and as you can see, this is the first thing that's gonna just bring you into this world. This is the first time we're seeing a lot of these characters. So let me share the cover for issue number 2. This gives you a little bit more of the story, right? I love when a cover really tells you what's about to happen inside of the issue. Here's the cover for number 3. There's a hidden mystery, which I love how it's just kind of teased there in the cover. And then, of course, there's going to be some spoilers, so I will reveal that we do get to see Asajj Ventress, one of my favorite characters, drawn in. Like, when I picked up this cover, I was so excited. It is so cool to see a villain like Asajj Ventress, one of my favorite villains. And then you also get all their cool bounty hunters. And this is the cover for issue number 5. So big shout out to Lux. Great work on these covers. And I know they're also working on the covers for the next iteration of the Bad Batch story. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But let's go talk about this book itself. All right, so before I get too deep into spoilers, this is a book about Clone Force 99, also called The Bad Batch, as you probably know if you've seen the cartoons. They're called on by Mace Windu to recover a stolen list of Republic ghost agents that are embedded within the Separatists. Their pursuit leads them from Coruscant to the underworld, through other remote worlds, and then seedy syndicates. Eventually, they do unmask the thief, a dark side Force user, and confront the Separatist assassin like Asajj Ventress. We also get to see Aurra Sing, and as the Bad Batch works to preserve this intelligence from the Republic. It's very, very cool. It's a really fun story. Really feels a little bit like almost like a heist, but not really, because they're trying to protect stuff. I mean, very similar to like Mission Impossible as well. Michael Moreci tells such an interesting story. I really like the way that he evolves the story. It's very much building out the world where you're trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot of twists and turns and mysteries. So I think it's very, very cool. So this is set around 21 BBY and then 19 BBY after the Battle of Camino. But it's all before Order 66. So if you've been kind of keeping track of the timeline, that's around the time this takes place. And it, of course, expands on the animated series that you've seen before, which it's really cool that in the comics you get to see characters interact with some of these other characters you probably never will in the animated series. So now I'm not telling you to go out and watch all the seasons of the Bad Batch, but you should. They're pretty good. Now, I will say this also takes place before we get Omega. So, of course, you may not see that character on here. So, not only do we go into like cantinas and CD bars to connect with a mysterious rogue agent, but you also have to enlist like a bounty hunter. Like we see Embo as well with and the confrontation with the Pike Syndicate. So like it really brings in so many things, right? They eventually have to go to Kessel to narrow down who the thief is, and once they find out this thief wields a lightsaber and is force sensitive, that's when we find out that it's Asajj Ventress who appears as she appears on the cover. But also Aurra Sing is in the shadows with some other preparations for the team, and then of course this all goes out into a big blowout. So whether it's like something like Hunter trying to be the tactician infiltrating the cantina, I think these clones work really well for this stealth mission because they all have very different attitudes from normal clones, right? Wrecker always bringing that physicality, Crosshurst the more of a stealth guy, and then Tech just mission data, intel, all that stuff that you need. Like it's a really well put together team for all this. Now, of course, like I said, we only see the four original Clone Force 99. I really like it. I think visually it shows everything that you want to see in this clone era. The art really touches on the different characters, whether it's a vibrant color palette for an action scene or a more darker tone for like a scene at a bar or somewhere where they're infiltrating. We get to see all these exotic locales, right? Not just Coruscant, but like going to Kessel, like that's like Easter egg number one probably in Star Wars. So I really like that. And although it doesn't really dive deep into any of the larger story for the Bad Batch, it just feels like bringing in a little bit, one more piece of their story to the light. So I really like this book. I think it really shines in all these action related items that we need them to do, but also just seeing the camaraderie between the clones, and really them acting as a team, working as a team, facing all these mysteries, and really being in peril. Now, are the stakes very high? Maybe not, because we kind of know what happens afterwards, but it's really all about the journey and the mission, and then expanding on the role. So I think the team really captured both visually what they're supposed to kind of represent, and also their voices. Like Michael Moreci really zoomed in on that, even though they're all voiced by the same person, right? But yeah, I really like this at all. I like the way that they approach the characters, and it feels like it was just kind of a cool, really cool story. I can see where they're getting another book, right? Because this was probably very popular. The collection itself will be out in November, and they've picked issue number 4, the cover with Asajj, as the main cover from what I've seen in the solicit. So that's going to be really fun. Now, if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.